Hi, this is Brian with the Snow and Ice Management Association at the 14th Annual Snow and Ice Symposium in Schaumburg, Illinois. I'm sitting here with Ken Boegeman from True North Services, and you're a certified snow professional.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been certified?
Certified 2 years.
2 years, okay. Well, let's hear a little bit about that. What was that experience like to get that certification?
That certification was a little bit more difficult than it is now. That was the 600 question, 6-hour grueling exam.
That was rough.
Yes, where you have to go and actually take it on paper. Now it's been considerably more streamlined. It's available online,
yes,
and 200 questions, and it still covers the same material, but it's definitely a more user-friendly format now than it was.
Took some of the barriers to taking it down.
Right, absolutely.
Still hard though.
Yes, difficult test, but certainly accessible now.
Sure.
Yes.
And since you've got it, has it helped you? I mean, like, personally it's an achievement, that feels great, but has it helped you in the work that you do?
It has. It's definitely, it's an added benefit to have, and it gives something else to discuss when you're talking with your clients about, what you do and how you do it. There's a million people out there with with a plow in the front of their truck that can move snow around. The difference is in the knowledge upstairs on what do I know that's above and beyond what they know to help, improve efficiency and, material usage and, keep their plants from dying and their curbs from getting smunched. So.
Right. No, yeah. I hear you. And so with True North, you said you manage a region. How big of a region is it?
It's at this point it's called our East region, which is everything east of Kansas City.
Okay.
Primarily, my focus is Missouri, Illinois, Indiana,
okay,
and those are kind of the areas that we work in the most.
Okay. So you guys had a pretty solid year this last year.
Yes.
I mean, you got a lot of snow, right?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
we were busy.
Good. And what were the major challenges that you faced last year?
One of the oddities was in St. Louis in particular. The majority of our salt product comes up through the river on barges, and
sure.
at one point, even though the supply was okay, our vendors had enough product, the river got so low that it was really difficult to move barges up and down the river.
Get it to you.
Right, Corps of Engineers actually shut them down. So what wound up happening there was that's when we had to switch to trucking the product in from the mines in Kansas.
That adds a lot of cost, right?
It does add a lot of cost, but that was that's part of being a professional in the industry is knowing what your backup plan is.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and so that's definitely that was something that was just as easy as switching an operational plan.
Sure.
To make that happen.
Salt's a tough issue in the industry because it's the lifeblood. I mean, you have to have it, but it's a huge commodity, and it cannot make it where you need to get it, or the price can fluctuate pretty dramatically. Have you guys done anything to sort of manage your salt usage? I mean,
sure.
I mean, do you have any training that you do with employees or anything like that?
Yeah, we show all of our spreader operators how to calibrate their equipment.
Do you really?
That's yes.
That's awesome.
It's part of the kind of the standard training that we run guys through the Snow Plowing 101.
Yeah.
And it's the easy calibration system with a 5-gallon bucket. It's not very scientific. You just need a stopwatch and a bucket and you go.
Don't make it more complicated than you need.
Right, absolutely. And we try to make sure that that they when they come back to the depot to reload, check your chute, check your spinner, make sure everything's in place so you can control it, and everybody knows how many tons of product are supposed to go down when they get to a property and get back, so we can kind of monitor that.
Sure.
And just tracking usage is a huge part of that.
That's huge, and that's sort of an accountability issue too, because depending on how folks price, knowing how much you put down, customers would like to know that, and I mean, it's nice to report that back.
Yeah, and it makes it easier too when if you've got some records to show how much you've actually used at come the end of the season. If there's a salt kill scenario where on a season that's as heavy as this one was, oftentimes it's not that the salt itself has actually been spun into the beds, but if it's a downhill bed without a curb, the brine just runs down in there and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's not an over application issue. It's just a matter of the design of the landscape.
Sure.
And so if you've got records to show, we've used what we were supposed to use, and
when
it's
they say you killed all my flowers.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it can save you a lot in.
That's great. I never even thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense.
There you go. Tip of the day.
All right, we'll put it up there. Anything else? I mean, so when you manage that whole area, is that are you mostly a sales lead then for the company as well?
I oversee the sales and the operation and the production, business development and training for the area, and it's so during the summer, of course, it's primarily sales and training, and then come the winter time, it's primarily production.
Okay.
So
and from a sales standpoint, what do you see in the last, like with these heavy snows? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, I'm assuming. I don't know what you guys are on out there. I mean, I'm sure it's a mix, but you're on some per push and some seasonal.
Yeah, there's per occurrence, seasonal, hourly, and there's every variation in between.
The per events are becoming more popular too, right?
Per events are. The reality is it's all a numbers game. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all going to make the same amount of money. It's just a difference of how we actually put it on the contract.
And these guys go seasonal for a couple of years, and they go
right.
But do you see anything happening from your customers? What are any trends that you see or anything like that?
Yeah, on heavier years like this past year, typically what will wind up happening is the property managers and the owners look at their bottom line, and historically in years where everything kind of falls in line with where it should, there's not a real reason to rock the boat. But on real heavy years, they look at the dollars amounts that were spent and they realize, okay, well maybe this is something we ought to bid.
Sure.
And so there's going to be a lot of times where a phone call may have gone unanswered in the past on the lighter year.
Right.
They're likely to get a call back this year from somebody that's more interested in talking to additional vendors. Not that their current vendor or us made any mistakes. There's nothing we did anything wrong. It's just the pressure to protect that bottom line.
Cost.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Definitely going to be a lot busier of a sales season.
So. Oh, sure. And qualifying those leads is probably a big challenge, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Will you call back?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably can't. You can't talk to everybody. I mean, or can you?
Well, I mean, you can talk to everybody and try to keep your foot in the door and have a card for the Rolodex.
Sure.
But there's a lot of times where you got to realize the size of your operation and the size of their operation and try to not we have no interest in selling to everybody.
Right.
If you're a big operation and a big outfit, it's tough to have smaller clients that are on your roster because if you we call it herding mice and elephants. The elephants wind up trampling the mice and the mice scare the elephants, and it just
that's funny.
It winds up being a more difficult season to try to manage.
Different mix of folks. Okay, that makes sense. Any thoughts on the economy? Are you hearing that folks are feeling pretty good from the client side and from your opinion as well?
Yeah, one of the things about snow is you're always going to have the snow removed. I mean, you're never going to have a property that doesn't have it done. The tougher economic conditions are a bit more of an issue because, again, it's the focus on the bottom line. Whereas historically, it's a very relational business. You may find where you've had a long time client that all of a sudden has some pressure to get bids, and you haven't changed anything in 20 years, and you've just been constantly adding a few percent here and there, and next thing you know, you're 50% higher than the competitive market is.
Right.
And it's and those sorts of things start to get flushed out with times as they are. But even when that happens, you may lose one, but you're going to pick up another one. So there's a pretty good likelihood that you'll be able to maintain your revenues in snow if you're able to not just leave all your eggs in one basket and hope come November that there's not a cancellation or a change.
Manage that portfolio, all your contracts.
Stay in touch, stay in contact, figure out what's going on, and if they're rebidding, be sure to find out why.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, hey, thank you so much.
Not a problem. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.